Welcome to Phil Wilson Chats with Celebrities. And here's your host, Phil Wilson.
Curb Records recording artist Wyn Starks can find his uplifting song Who I Am featured in Celine Dion's recently released documentary I Am Celine Dion. And after stunning the America's Got Talent judges with his performance of the song in 2022, Who I Am continues to resonate with those navigating a struggle to find their strength. And Wyn joins me now. How are you doing, Wyn?
So good, Phil. How are you?
I'm fabulous. It's just a privilege to speak to you because you've done so much in so little time, really. And this song is an absolutely inspirational song to that as well. Now, for listeners who have just discovered... No problem at all. Absolutely love it. Now, for listeners who have just discovered your music, when did you begin singing?
So I started singing at a young age. I was 13 when I did my first solo in church. And then I knew from there on, I was like, okay, we gonna do this. Like, because I was very shy before then. I didn't really sing in front of people a lot, or, but now you can't shut me up. So I'm like, so, but I think professionally now it's been since I moved to Nashville, about 7 years that I've been doing it to this degree, of writing my own music, performing it, and yeah.
Of course, and we're going to be picking up on your beginnings as well soon. Now, in Minneapolis, you grew up with your mother and 4 brothers and were surrounded by the gospel harmonies of artists such as Yolanda Adams and the Clark Sisters, through to Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. What was it that you liked about them, and did they influence your style?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned I listened to a lot of just artists growing up, but I think I gravitated to just like big voices, like I love Stevie, Whitney, the Clark Sisters, their harmonies. Cause that's why I learned a lot of harmony just growing up, hearing choirs. And so it just was something that I was hugely inspired by, like from these different artists. But what was so cool about it is my mom played everything in the house, like, and she sang too, just not like, she didn't pursue it as like a career,
a profession.
She's a single mom, a profession, yeah. And so she was single mom raising us and always sang to us as kids and played all different kind of music through the house. I mean, we listened to Motown. I remember 80s pop and rock. I would listen to that more on the school bus, And so,
yeah.
But music, I just love good music. You know what I mean? Like if it was a good song, And so that's why I say like my music is kind of a culmination of all the artists I grew up listening to and the genres I grew up kind of mashed into the sound that makes Wyn Starks. But I think that's my beginning, journeys with it, and I'm always evolving and growing and learning new things.
Indeed, and with you, and of course you'll have picked up a lot of tips as well, because you can really get to those high notes as well, which are absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah, that's from listening to artists like Whitney, Mariah, Celine, Stevie, Prince, our royalty, where I'm from. Minneapolis, and then Michael, the icons, I definitely gravitated to those voices, as so many of us do. I mean, they're incredible, but yeah, so.
That's right, living today all the time on the radio there, all of these people as well.
Yeah.
And so you will be in the future as well, Wyn, I know that for sure.
Oh, thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil.
Now, you mentioned there at the age of 13, you started your singing, and you sung an original song entitled Angel City at church, thrilling churchgoers and affirming your potential. Eventually, you directed your church youth choir and praise team and joined a travelling ministry. What was life like on the road, and did you do any other solos?
So yeah, I would do solos when I traveled, but I knew that I wanted to be an artist, and I wasn't sure what degree, because again, I knew at what degree. I knew I wanted to be an artist, and I wanted to tour, and I wanted to release albums, and I wanted to. But I think a fear kind of stopped me, so I kind of hid behind a little bit in the back. That's why I did background vocals for a little bit. But I knew that I wanted to step out on my own and really and then I felt a bit like I was in a bubble a little bit for myself, because I just, I let a lot of outside voices try to tell me what I should and should be doing. And so I was just so my move to Nashville kind of was to get all the other voices out of my head, kind of find myself. And then that's actually when I wrote Who I Am, not long after I moved to Nashville. And so I was just really finding myself in this new Wyn. My real name is Wayne, and so my artist name is Wyn. And so I was just finding out who he was, and and it's been a great journey. It's been a really cool journey so far.
Yeah, and you've definitely found out who you are to start.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Phil.
Yeah, certainly you are. Now, let's fast forward. And after a time you moved to Dallas, where a viral video of you singing caught the attention of producer and songwriter Fred Williams, who invited you to Nashville to work on music together. Now, what was it like getting the call to go to Nashville?
So I met Fred through a mutual friend of ours, who's an artist as well that lives here, Andreas Moss, and I remember meeting him in Minneapolis because he was there touring. He was actually Matt Carney's MD at the time. And I went and saw a show, and I just loved it so much. And I was like, I want to do this, it's like this, after seeing that. And so I remember going back to Dallas because I was living there for a short time before I moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
And I remember going back, and I was like, a friend of mine was doing this I Can't Help Falling in Love with You challenge. So I sang that little piece and posted it. And normally I'm so picky and so I'm a huge, my worst critic, so I'm but I just said, I'm putting it out there. Here it is. And then he reposted it. My friend did. Fred saw it. And he was like, I'd love if you would be on a song, because he's an EDM artist, and his artist name is Bill Titan. And I was like, yeah, I heard his stuff. I loved it. I hopped in the car and from Dallas, drove down to Nashville, 10-hour drive or so. Wow. And we just rode in the studio for a few days, and I just loved it so much. I was like, remember going back to Dallas crying a little bit, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. So one of his roommates were moving out, and he was like, if you want to come move here, the door's open. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I hopped in the car again, packed my stuff up, hopped in the car. I was working at a hotel at the time. I told them, I'm like, I'm moving to Nashville. I got a job pretty quick here at a hotel, and was just working on music, just hitting it straight. Go for it once I got it.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah. Now, what was it like, the writing process? Did you get along from the start, as writers tend to have the different styles of composing?
You're right, Phil. That's a good question, because I actually did find it a little difficult at first, because again, I was only used to writing songs by myself, and then I would get with producers and say, hey, but this is what I'm hearing chords wise, and this is the melody that I'm hearing, and da 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 da. So yeah, but it was cool because I got to just meet other writers, other producers, find different styles of writing, because I'm pretty. Normally with me, melodies come a lot quicker to me, and then words take a little more time for me because I'm so stickler. It gotta feel right to me. So I'm pretty picky when you know what I mean?
I know. And so,
yeah. And so writing with different people was difficult at first, because I was still trying to learn how they work, and then trying to still learn how I work, and adopting new ways of writing for myself, and so and it just made me a stronger songwriter, because I always, loved singing and but to really be viewed as like a songwriter is really special for me, because it really developed that much more after moving to Nashville and working with other producers and writers. Yeah, so
definitely a learning curve for you.
Yeah, for sure. But I love it. I found my kind of tribe of the people that I love writing with, and It's been a really cool journey.
Excellent, and it's obviously it's been magical as well, because you released your debut single Circles in 2019 and crafted your 2021 Black is Golden album, collaborating with professional songwriters and musicians throughout the country. And you also toured as an opening act on folk band Delta Ray's 2020 and 2023 national tours. Now, was it a shock to the system performing to such large audiences, and how did you feel being accepted by the audience after all this time, because you were spreading the word, as it were, before then?
So I had some, like, I've sang in front of larger audiences before, but not my original music. So that was very new for me, because it was like the first time, honestly, because it's me on my own, standing with my own original music. And so, and it was 2021 when I did my first tour with Delta Ray. And I remember, because I had just lost my twin brother a year before, and because I celebrated his year passing while I was on the road. But I felt like it was good for me to do that, because music was a thing that kept my head above water. Honestly, was that healing thing for me through that grief. And me and my brother love singing. We love music, and so we would sit for hours listening to Marvin Gaye in the car, and just so many artists. But we would go in my mom's minivan and just sit there and listen to music for hours. And we made up our
lovely
own songs all the time too. But so I was like, felt like he was there with me during that whole thing while I was on the road, giving me that strength. And Delta Ray, man, they've become like family to me. They were so supportive, so sweet, until this day. I mean, we still talk. I love them. And for them to give me that opportunity like that was super huge for me, because in it and to be so supportive, and just like, it was very cool. I mean, I felt a bit spoiled for my first tour, for it to be so good. I was having the time of my life, honestly, and it was good for me. I needed that, because I was in a kind of a little dark place during that time, just like figuring out what I was gonna do with my life, especially not having my brother here. And
exactly.
So,
yes.
And so, but it was beautiful. It was I loved it so much. I feel like so at home on stage, in the studio and at home. In the studio and on stage is where I feel most at home. You
feel that at home, and of course you've got all of the love coming towards you there as you're performing on the stage, which will be magical.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, the response from the people, it was that confirmation. It was that, like, approval, like that, boom, like, we're doing this. I remember, like, after my first show was in DC, and I just cried after I got off stage, because I was like, oh my God, I dreamed about this. And now to see it actually happening was a really cool moment for me. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful time there. Yeah. Now, in 2022, you appeared on America's Got Talent. Was it your idea to go on the show, as it really can be a stepping stone for the big time for many, with even global success?
Yeah. So I had just got off tour with Delta Ray, and then AGT, they reached out to me and asked if I would like to be a part of the show. So I got to go straight to the judges, which was really cool. And I was like, I'm definitely, I know my brother would want me to do this. I was terrified to do something like that. I mean, a little bit nervous, because it's just such a big audience, and it's like, you're auditioning, like, it's like, it was like, so I said, I'm gonna do this for my brother. So I went to the audition. I remember I always get some nerves before, but these felt different. They didn't feel like fear nerves. They felt like adrenaline, like, let's do this. Like, I got, you know what I mean? And I just felt ready in that moment, you know? And so, and then just the response from the judges was incredible. Simon gets, you know, a lot of slack for, you know, being so raw, stern, but honestly, he was like the nicest person to me. Like, I felt, because one thing that I love is that he asked about how I was. You know what I'm saying? He would always be like, "How are you?" You know what I mean? And like that meant a lot to me. You know what I mean? And so it made me not feel just like a number or
no,
like,
of course.
They actually care about the people and the story behind and want to make sure that we're okay doing things like that. So, and it was so fresh for me with the grief too. So it was just a magical experience. I met great people. I was there. The audience, again, I honestly thought some of my family came and surprised me in the audience because they were going so hard for me. Like, "Rah, we got you, Wyn. I was looking up there like, Mom? Because the love, it was just incredible.
Yeah. Now, did the judges give you any advice?
No, I didn't really get to have that kind of conversation, but definitely the crew behind the scenes. I mean, they really helped to prepare you. I had got COVID though. Right before my second performance, so I almost wasn't even able to make it for that second performance because I wasn't sure if I would be recovered by then. But I did. I took a test. I was recovered, but I still felt a little bit in my, like, vocally, you know, a little bit coming back from that. But but I was like, I gotta do this. Like, you know, I made it to the next round, you know, and I didn't want to miss that. So I still went. I missed a week of rehearsals, unfortunately, but I still was able to go and do my best. And unfortunately, I didn't move on to the next round, but my goodness, it was definitely incredible experience. I met some great people Chapel Heart, a group that was there, a trio country singers, and they're incredible. And so Nicotine Doll, Sam, I met him there. Like, we still keep in contact. So it was just a really cool experience. And yeah, I definitely carry a lot of the stuff I learned from there, you know, with me still today.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what it is. When I've watched the video footage there on YouTube, the judges were particularly blown away by your performance of the song "Who I Am," which continues to resonate with those navigating a struggle to find their strength. It's a meaningful song to you. Does it give you strength when performing it?
It does. I mean, like after the show, I remember having this love thing, like this tug of war with it, because it was, although it was an incredible experience, it also came with it was a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? Yeah. I you know, so that could be a little bit overwhelming at times, but it always manages for me to fall back in love with it. I shot a video for it. It is my homecoming video, I call it, for Who I Am. And I got a lot of those were my friends and family that were in the backyard, and I performed it at home. And that was really special. So it took on another new life for me. And I'm always falling in love with it more and more each time. And then you know, this the latest thing that happened with it being in a Celine Dion documentary was a whole nother, I mean, I said I would definitely be singing this song for the rest of my life. So I better love it.
That's right.
I do.
Yeah. Well, I was just about to mention it, actually, that a lady who certainly has been pushing all boundaries and finding amazing strength against all odds is the wonderful Celine Dion, who has made Amazon Prime documentary film I Am Celine Dion, which features Celine singing along to your song, which is, I bet it was amazing. Now, what was your reaction like when you heard your song and was being featured in this inspirational real life film?
Ooh, I like even you talking about it now. I'm getting emotional. That's how it's been my whole thing, though. Since it's come out, I'm just
Yes.
you can't even talk about it around me without me like getting teary eyed.
Well enough.
Because
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
ooh, it was a magical moment. You know, like
Yeah.
nothing could have prepared me for that. Even I was getting messages a few days before it had come out from just people who had went and saw it, a lot of fans who had went and saw it, like
Yeah.
early previews of it. And so, like, because I was still unsure, like, I heard it was going to be in it, and I was so excited. And I heard a little bit that inspires her, like they were saying, because my A&R reached out and told me, and I was like, so I was always checking in, not too much, because I didn't want to seem, like, overbearing.
Wow.
But I remember a few weeks before it came out, I was like, is it still a goal? You know, like, because I didn't want to get my hopes up. But even knowing she heard it was so rewarding for me, even knowing that Celine Dion heard me singing in my song and she uses it for inspiration. Like, that was enough for me, whether it made the documentary or not. But I still, you know, but then to actually know it made it, like people were messaging me like, oh my God, we just saw the documentary. Your part in it was one of the most impactful parts of it. I was like, what? I remember I was about to go to sleep. I was laying in bed and I got that first message from somebody. And then not 5 minutes after, somebody else wrote me. Then just the messages just started coming from people.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, it's bigger than what I even thought. But still, nothing could have prepared me for, because I went and saw an early showing because of one of her fans. It's like, you should check and see if there's one in your area.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, there was. And so I went and saw an early showing of it. And I went with my co-writer, Vanessa Kempenon. She's incredible and a huge Celine Dion fan as well. So we both were in there just holding hands, crying together. Like, and like, and we're like, our names are in the credits. We're like, oh.
Wow.
Like, you know, it was just surreal. It really was. And for her strength, I mean, my goodness, her vulnerability, and to have that strength to let us in that way with her struggle with SBS and just to be able to be that vulnerable, man, it inspired me so much as an artist. Like, wow, that's it. Because sometimes I'm scared to be vulnerable like that and let people win. But if she can do that, like, I'm like, oh my God, like, and the fact that that Who I Am could play a part in that, giving her, like, you know, inspiration and strength, what her music has done for me for so long, you know, as a vocalist, as an artist, she hugely inspires me. So that was really special. I'm sorry.
No, but it is absolutely. What I was going to say is that I watched the trailer for the film, and it's so wonderful and it's emotional at the same time. I'm going to be watching it in the next few days, but even watching the trailer, and it actually features us singing along to your song, "Who I Am." That is just like, I was like, wow, you know, it's so touching, and you can see the emotion, how much it means to her in her face when she's singing along to your tune. I mean, it's giving me a tear in my eye even talking about it as well. You know,
when she did that, I said, I gotta step it up, honey. Like that passion she was singing with. Ooh, I mean, it was, oh my goodness, it was magical, to say the least.
Absolutely beautiful.
And I still just get emotional, especially, and you'll see it. I don't want to give too much away if you haven't seen it, but it is, nothing could have prepared me for actually seeing it. Like even the messages that were coming through and people were saying it's the most impactful part, one of the most impactful parts of the film. Like, and then I got to talk to the director, because she wrote me a really sweet message and was like, we always had this in mind, even during the editing process. We knew this is the route we wanted to go. And that is just, oh my God, it's like a full circle moment, a stamp of approval from somebody you look up to so much. And it reminds me why I do this. You know what I mean? And like,
exactly,
it does pay off.
Gives you the purpose.
Really does. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But it is amazing. And the music video for Who I Am has now been viewed, which I've just checked, by the way, since I got my little script through from the promotions team. It's now gone up from 2.7 to 3.2 million viewers to date. And your America's Got Talent audition has now had 9.7 million viewers too. Now, is it still a pinch me moment? How the song has this global popularity inspiring others?
I know it is. I'm like constantly like, what is going on here? What is happening? Honestly, it was like scary in a good way when I saw it. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
my life's really like it's changing as I speak. Like,
yeah,
and it's beautiful though. I what I love so much too is that seeing people and hearing their stories of how it's helped them, other people that have struggled even with the same SPS as well, and
yeah.
also people who are struggle with grief. Other twins are reaching out to me, like who have
Of
lost their
course.
twin. Like other, like I get to hear this song has just taken on a whole new life. It's helped, and to hear all the different stories it is wow.
A
It
big
really is a wow
inspirational song.
moment. Yeah,
It
and
really
so
is.
I'm like, yeah, yeah.
But it's going to be. I mean, it'll be. I bet you it's going to be featured. You know, it. You can take what you want from it. Everybody,
Yeah,
no matter what situation, you can bring strength from it. It can bring. You know, it can bring hope. It can bring all sorts of emotions to you, which can heal you, and it can also inspire as well, which is so magical about it.
Thank you, Phil. Oh, that's exactly what I was like. Like you said it so well right there. That is exactly it. It takes on so many different lives and form and like, and it's wow. I just man, I mean, and again, just huge. Like I just hugely so appreciative to them for that, and I'm so glad it can be an inspiration to somebody who's been an inspiration to us for so long, you know, and continues to. Like after seeing that, I really feel like even more emboldened as an artist, as a
Yeah.
creator, as a writer. It makes me feel so much more affirmed, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So,
Now we're going to move on to a totally different way, and we're going to be asking you, the vinyl revival is upon us, so I must ask you, have you ever bought a vinyl record, and if so, what record would you play for me if you had a record player right next to you right now? What tune would you go, you've got to listen to this, Phil?
So I recently got a vinyl player, a record player, and I went and just got a few vinyls of my some of my favorite artists: Marvin Gaye, Whitney Houston, Jasmine Sullivan. I think the one that I would say you have to, which you've probably already heard it, but let me see. I just love what's going on. I always want to call it something else because there's so many work, but Marvin Gaye, what's going on, because it's timeless.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can listen to it right now, and it applies to even right now. It is
Definitely.
like it is such a timeless song, and that's what I love about Motown music and just older like music like that, is that it just lives on. It could have came out yesterday. You know what I mean? It just has this timeless feel to it that I just love so much, and I always want to incorporate that even in what I write and record, and like, because I want it to be played for years and years and years to come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is a
I think
beautiful
that would
song,
be
that.
the one. Yeah, I think that might be one of them, but I have so many. But that's definitely.
bet you
one.
have.
And I have such fond memories because again, I used to listen to that album in the minivan, in my mom's minivan with my brother. We would just blast it. So I think that would be the one for sure.
It's absolutely, it's a great choice, that one. I love it when it's got like tom tom kind of things in it, and then it's got the with the it's a clarinet, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah. Trumpet, clarinet, or yeah. I think so.
It's beautiful, beautiful song. Great choice there.
God.
That's a first one there as well. That's been mentioned for the vinyl revival, which we'll have to play that for you definitely. Now, unfortunately, Wyn, you wouldn't believe this. We've run out of time. So it just leaves me to say, Yeah, it just seems
we have to do it again, Phil. I have to come and do it in person now. No.
Definitely. Yeah, so I've got to thank you so much for joining me on the show. It's been such a pleasure. And if you stick around, because we're going to be having a little bit of a chat, just me and you, after we come off the air here. But just to say thank you so much. All the best with your brand new single. It's going to fly off the shelves, I know that for sure. And as we can see by YouTube and with the release of Celine Dion's Who I Am movie, it's going to be just a joy. Now, finally, would it be possible for you to introduce your latest single, Who I Am, taken from the album Black is Golden?
My name is Wyn Starks, and this is Who I Am.
It's been such a pleasure, Wyn Starks, for joining me on the show. All the best to you, and would you like to come on the show again in the future?
I would love to, Phil. I had a lot of fun talking to you.
Fabulous, and it'd be great to catch up with you when you're in the UK sometime. If you drop us a line,
absolutely,
it'd be great to meet you in person.
I will definitely hit you up when I'm there, and we'll connect.
Fabulous.
Sure.
Well, all the best then.
Songs for you there.
Oh, that would be beautiful. Would love that. Take care now. Thanks. Bye for now.
Bye. Talk to you soon.